So I wanted to show everyone something that I was not able to find online when I was looking. I've got a 2012 Chrysler Town and Country that when I was in the back seat of the car, I could smell a antifreeze odor coming from around the passenger side rear where the rear HVAC is. I couldn't find any active leaks at all in the entire car, but I was using a tiny bit of antifreeze every couple of months, maybe a few ounces. When I got back here, as I was sniffing around, I thought it was in the heat exchanger, but that checked out. Everything looked good in there. There's no liquid leaking out of it. But these connections right here, where there were these clips here, you might not be able to see it, but it's a little bit of buildup of some residue right in there. Then I also noticed these pre-made crimped connectors seem to be weeping a little bit. It wasn't actively wet, but you could see the orange residue from the antifreeze that they have in these. So one thing, if you buy this whole line set, it's like $150. So it really seemed like it was just the rubber that was going bad. So I wasn't sure how these were made inside, if I'd be able to do anything. So I got a Dremel and cut it. And just so you guys can see it and know that this can be done, just cut a slit down the side of it and pried it apart pretty carefully with some pliers and a screwdriver. Once I got it apart, you could tell that the inside of the hose was starting to get wet around the edge, up and around here. So I think what it was, also, it seems to trap air in this area. This is the high spot, at least in the rear. So when I took these hoses off, there was no liquid in it. Now that might be because there's a little slight leak or something. I'm not sure, but it may be that the seal on this was just bad enough to where air could squeeze out, but not necessarily a bunch of liquid. That might be the case. So I'm gonna get this back together and use just some standard heater hose and some hose clamps to get it buttoned up, and then hopefully that takes care of the odor. I did replace these clips with some regular hose clamps, and that seemed to reduce it, but I still seem to have that smell. Again, I think it was starting to come out around these, and these Chrysler minivans and Dodge Caravans are notorious for having bad rear heater core line sets that start to weep after so many years. So it's end of 2019 right now, so this thing's got a few years on it. But my hope is this will take care of that odor issue for a little while, and won't have to mess with it anymore. Thanks. So here's the finished product. Just used standard hose clamps on the end where they had these factory pressed fittings. Regular hose clamps on that side, just 5/8 heater hose. I got at AutoZone, so I just filled that in. And after cutting the bottom one loose, I did notice that inside, it'd probably be hard to see in here, but there is some residue from where the water was leaking out. You can see that little bit of orange around the edge. That was the bottom where it was collecting. And then on the inside of this hose, you can kind of see where it was weeping beyond the seal. So hopefully this takes care of it. Thanks.